The point-and-click genre died in the 1920s with Putt-Putt, and yet, the drifter is out here as if the competition is still fierce. Without spoilers, you are Mick Carter, a disheveled man finally returning to his hometown after 5 years for his mother's funeral, who after an attempt on his life finds out that if he dies, he travels back in time a few minutes before his death. Like that Nicolas Cage movie if it had an actual good story. Now, I don't really play a lot of these old-style point-and-clicks outside of RuneScape, which doesn't really count, but what really put this game on my radar was the fact that it was made by Powerhoof, the developers of Crawl, a game that I did a video on not too long ago, who were kind enough to give me a key to this game, and as stated in the Super Debt video, I would not be talking about this game if I did not genuinely love it. This video is just going to cover my thoughts on the Drifter while being as spoiler-free as possible. There are a few minor spoilers for early parts of the game and a few screens in the late game, however the story and all of its twists will remain untouched for this video. Alright, let's go! On the surface, the gameplay is pretty standard for a point and click. Most of the time you're trying to solve puzzles by using and combining items you find around the environment to help progress the story. The Drifter does a good job at making all the puzzles grounded in reality, allowing you to use logic and common sense to solve most of them. I will say that as someone who isn't as familiar with these types of games, I did occasionally have to refer to the official spoiler-free walkthrough, which I will say does a great job at steering you in the right direction while being as ambiguous as possible to help avoid spoiling any aspect of the game. But I imagine that most people won't have to do this. Even after using a guide, the answer to the puzzles that I couldn't solve didn't feel unfair at all, and it always felt like it was my fault and not the game's. While some of these puzzles can take a bit of time to solve, the Drifter does something really impressive and manages to make action scenes that genuinely have tension, giving you these fast-paced encounters as you're given limited time to try and figure out how to navigate these situations. You're looking through your bag thinking of what you can use or combine to survive, while scanning the environment to try and find a way out. It's executed so well, and even if you're dying multiple times trying to figure out what to do, it never really feels tedious because the dying is just part of the Drifter's story. Without going into spoilers, I will say that the story is good. It does a good job at building up its cast of characters and gets you rooting for them, while never directly telling you who can really be trusted. The voice acting is good, and it was nice to see Adrian Vaughn return to voice the main character. The story is original in its ideas and has a lot of twists and turns to keep you invested, but it isn't perfect. It takes the first few chapters to really get going, but the Drifter does a great job at getting exponentially better with each chapter to the point where you don't want to stop playing until you've seen the story through. The other issue I have is with the ending. It's fine, but it's just fine. It felt more rushed than anything, but to avoid spoilers, I won't really be getting into it. However, if you guys wanted, I would be down with doing a full breakdown of the story, sharing my thoughts in a separate video. Unsurprisingly, what really brings this unique gameplay and good story together is the look and feel of the Drifter. The environments you travel through are just packed with atmosphere, beauty, and this overwhelming sense of mystery. Each screen has been so intricately crafted with small details and elaborate lighting with this outstanding pixel art. Some screens show environments at weird angles, while others have different perspectives. There's a screen where you see all the action happen from an open window, or one where the camera is perched up in a tree looking down at everything going on. Every character has so much, well, character, with their animations and subtle details. The only issue I have with the animation for the Drifter is the frequent cuts to black during complex scenes, but I am more than willing to give these guys the benefit of the doubt due to how small their team is. The sound design really immerses you in each environment. You got the background ambience of each area, all the different sounds of the surfaces you can walk on, and the excellent sound design that accompanies every action you do. Listen to this keypad for a second. They could have made that sound in 5 seconds on a door, but instead, Dave Lloyd traveled to his old office and used the actual keypad there to record the sound on. That is passion, and that passion is ultimately what makes The Drifter so great. The story isn't groundbreaking, but the characters and their voice actors, the mood and the environment, everything works together to make each significant moment feel that much more special. The action sequences can make you forget that you're even playing a point and click and just make you feel badass. I love indie games, and as long as games like this keep being made, I will continue to love indie games. Even if you're not a fan of point and clicks, I still recommend this game. I don't really like them, but it was an incredible ride. It's beautiful, atmospheric, with a cast of characters worth liking and a huge mystery worth unraveling. I haven't even talked about the soundtrack yet, so to end this video, I'm just gonna let this shit talk for itself. Nine out of 10.